Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast. Tonight, we're going to have a guest on that we haven't had on for a while. This is Laura, and she's basically going to talk about her experiences. If you don't remember her, she's been on several times. Unfortunately, she had an alien abduction. Excuse me, I can't talk. A long time ago, and since then, she's just been wanting to share her story with you guys and get it out to the world and tell her side of the story, what happened to her. And maybe it relates to you guys, maybe it doesn't. I just ask that everybody please be respectful on this channel. We basically want to make sure that we are, not judging anybody or anything like that. The video behind you that you're seeing is Amanda and I doing some sky watching of our own. This is from the cattle mutilation case that we did that got us in a lot of trouble. So, anyways, without further ado, let's bring Laura back on and let her tell her story. Can you kind of tell us where all this started, Laura?
Yeah. Well, it basically, this one happened 15 years ago in 2010.
Okay.
And at the time, I used to go to visit my sister Joanne. She lived in Mentor, Ohio. I lived in Cleveland. And sometimes I would visit her for like a week or a weekend. And this time I was visiting her again, and she had a son, Lucas. He's my nephew. I was telling him what was going on with me, and he believed me. He was only 10 years old at the time. And I started talking to him like that weekend I was there because back home in Cleveland, for the past year, I had strange, weird things happening to me. I lived in this house apartment with my son, who was, how old was he? How old he was, almost 18, I think, or something. But I've never told him to this day. My daughter knows. I never told my son about me. I need to tell him.
Okay. But how old were you when this was going on?
I was 47.
Okay.
And after this happened, up to that point, my whole life, I didn't even realize I was being abducted, which is really sad. Took 47 years till after this incident happened.
So this is kind of like you're awakening to what was going on around you?
Yes, and I was happy and I was unhappy at the same time because it was happening to me my whole life. And it was weird. When I was a little kid, I used to walk around the house saying, I love aliens and UFOs. I used to say that all the time when I was a little kid.
Wow.
Little did I know, I didn't even realize, they were so interesting to me when I was a kid. I was like, man, I wish I could be on one of them UFOs.
Wow.
But anyway, I had strange things going on at my house for like a year. Paranormal stuff, like seeing ghosts, and oh my God, I had so much weird things. I would tell my son, he wouldn't believe me. He didn't believe in ghosts and paranormal, anything. I was like, I couldn't talk to him.
Yeah.
It was aggravating.
It's hard when you have a skeptic in the house. I know, I'm a believer, but I'm also skeptical too. I've learned you have to be really skeptical of everything paranormal, because if you don't, people can pull your story apart if you don't really do your research and make sure it's 100%, valid. You can't. So
you don't want anybody lying to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to give out a false narrative and say, well, this happened, and somebody's going, oh, really? Well, this is what happened here, this is what happened here, this is what happened here. I'm not saying that's what happened to you. I'm just saying that's I know what you're talking about, living with a skeptic. So, anyways, continue on. What kind of things were happening
at my house for a year?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus! I had an abduction at my house. I should tell you about that. That should have told me. That should have tipped me off right there. I thought it was strange. I kept thinking about it for months after it happened. What happened was, this was in the morning. This is weird because I had shot down from the sky from something. I thought I was dreaming, and I ended up. Listen, Matt. I ended up in my room. I was standing next to my bed, and my body was laying in the bed. And I looked, I was like, did I just die? Because
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, I'm laying in the bed. Oh my! And then I thought, oh my God, am I going to get back in my body? And then I heard this thought that said, just crawl back into your body. And this thought came in my head, like, just crawl back into your body, because I couldn't see my body. I was standing by my bed. I was like in ghost form. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go crawl back in my body. And I crawled back in my body, and then I felt my body, because I didn't feel my body when I was out of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, how did I just shoot? I know I shot down from the sky at least 50 feet or so. I was way high up, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? I
Yeah.
didn't
Well,
realize what happened. But it scared me. I was like, my God, my body's laying there. I'm standing here, and I don't know what to do. It's like, I'm going to be dead if I don't get back in my body.
wow.
So I climbed back in somehow. I know I just climbed back in, and then I felt my body, and then it was okay. And I was like, then I woke up, and I was like, was that a dream? What was that?
Right. What just happened to me? Right.
And then, geez, I saw, okay, the one thing I had at night, I should tell you, I had like, what was it, 5 or 6, 7, these like green lights, little dots, they came flying through my window. This was at night. I don't know, was it 10 o'clock? And I don't know. It was, anyway, they were all over my wall. And I'm
Weird.
looking like, what they were green. They were green, and they had like a white light attached to them. There was like 6 or 7 of them all over my wall to the right side. And I was like, what the heck is this? What? I don't understand what that was. But then I saw it for probably, I think, 5 minutes, and then you know where the two walls meet, the crease from your.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then all of a sudden I saw an image of space. Literally, it looked like space. That's all I can tell you. It was just so high. I saw a picture, and all these lights I saw flew into that space, and then it disappeared in front of me, and I was like, "Oh my God, what was that? What did I just see?
Right.
What was that all about?" I don't
Right.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was weird.
That is
Okay,
very strange.
huh?
I said that sounds very strange.
Yes, okay. And then the one night, well, I heard something a long time ago. They were saying that if you're having like ghostly things at night, it's probably happening to you. You think you're dreaming, but they're saying that no, you're probably seeing something. Someone knocked at my door late at night. This was like 3 in the morning or something. I live in an house apartment. Okay, I answer the door, and there's a blonde man and a brunette standing at my door, and I'm like, "Who you guys?" They were young, and they go to me, "Oh, we live upstairs." And I was thinking, there is nobody upstairs. They moved out. And I was like, "What? You live upstairs?" They said, "Oh yeah, we live upstairs. We've been there for a while." And I was like, "Huh? What the heck you do?" And then I don't know. After that, I closed my door. That's all they said. And I was like, "Who the heck are they? They don't even look right. You know what I mean? I mean, they look solid like people, but I was like, who are they? What was that all about?"
Yeah. Well, why are people knocking on my door at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I was like 2 or 3 in the morning, or maybe one. I don't know, but I know it was in the middle of the night, and I was like, no, there's no way nobody lives upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing, oh God, I have so many things. The one night, I was laying in my bed, and up to my bed is the kitchen, and then I have this small window in my kitchen you can see out of. Okay, so something told me to get up and look out my kitchen window. I was reading previous to that. I was reading something about what do you call it, Japan, when they dropped the bomb in
Yeah.
Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading something about that, and I was thinking, oh, I would love to see some of those people who died in that. And something told me to get up. I get up, I go to my kitchen, and I look out my window. It was just open a little bit, and I see somebody looking in at me. And I'm like, who the heck is this? Is no night too. So I opened my curtains. I kid you not, Matt. There were at least 50 or 60 Japanese people standing there in our drive. We had like a driveway right there where my window was.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them. I'm like, are you some of the people who died? I was like, you got to be some of the people who died and who were in the bomb was dropped. None of them said, they didn't say nothing to me. They just looked at me. And I looked at them like, oh my God, I got to be dreaming. This cannot be real.
Wow, you like summons them or something. Summons them, yeah.
Yeah, they were all Japanese. They looked Japanese. They had black hair, black eyes, and they just looked. They were just standing there. They didn't say anything. I think I probably looked at them for like 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my God, what are you people doing here?" It's like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Visitors like that at my window. They weren't even. They didn't knock at my door or anything.
Did they look ghostly? Were they transparent, or were they? Did they look like us? Just solid?
They look solid. They look like people. Yeah, they didn't look like ghosts, which I couldn't figure out. It was like, but they didn't scare me. I was kind of happy to see them. I'm like, oh, I got my wish. I was like, wow, this is very strange.
Yeah, definitely. That would be very strange. So all of a sudden, open your curtains and there's a bunch of people standing there.
Mm-hmm. And then another time, I had a couple things happen in my kitchen. Another time I got up and I opened my door to the bedroom. The kitchen's there. And I see these people walking from my door when you come into my living room. I had a small apartment, but they were ghosts. They were walking through my kitchen. They went from the door to the living room where the entrance was to the living room, and they disappeared. And I just saw these people walking through my kitchen, and I'm like, who the heck are these people?
Right.
I'm like, what?
What are you doing in my house? Yeah. Yeah. Been there, done that.
This kept happening the whole year. I had stuff happen the whole year.
Wow. What year was this?
2010.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, I must attract ghosts must like me. Oh, and another one. I could just tell you about this apartment I lived in. This other night, I was laying in bed, and my curtains were closed by my window. My window was like where the head of my bed is, but I used to sleep at the end of my bed. So by the end of where the end of my bed is, I could see my window. It was behind me. So I didn't tell you. I also had a old cemetery, literally a block away from where we lived.
Oh wow!
But this one night, I am laying in bed and I open my eyes and I see this man looking at me through my blinds, which were closed. And I saw his eyes, and I was yelling at him. I was like, "Oh my God, who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here?" And I was getting scared. And he's like, "Why are you scared?" And I was like, "Because you scared me."
Oh my gosh!
He said, "Don't be scared of him." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Who are you?" And I think he said his name was Ray or something like that. And he's black. And my daughter told me that
Spangler or Egon.
Huh?
I said Spangler or Egon. Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but my daughter told me that her husband's father died, and his name was Ray.
Oh wow!
And I said, "Oh, do you think that was him?" I said, "I don't know. I all I saw was his eyes. I didn't see anything else, but that's all he said to me. And then he was gone 30 seconds later. And I was like, it's impossible to see his eyes because my curtains and blinds were closed.
Wow.
So
spirits don't normally hang around too long. Human spirits, at least, they try and manifest, and essentially then it takes a lot of energy for them to create a physical body. And honestly, I think they more manifest to us in our own heads. I think maybe they manipulate our brainwaves to see them more or less than anything else.
let me tell you the next thing that happened. I told my son this, and he didn't believe me. He's like, I don't know what happened, Mom. I'm like, oh, I'm talking to the wrong person.
Yep.
Anyway, I was laying in bed again one night, and it was early. It was 7 or 8 o'clock. I was laying there, Matt, and I kid you not, I felt like a ghost to come out of the closet by our living room. That's where I felt this ghost came out of there. I'm pretty sure she did. And I kid you not, I saw her walk. She walked right through my door. Scared the shit out of me.
Wow.
I saw her whole.
We'll have to
I saw
edit
her
that.
head to toe, which looked like a ghost. And and I was like, "Don't come near me!"
Yeah.
7 steps away from me. You know, like, stop! Don't come any closer. That's the closest I've ever
Jeez.
been to a ghost, I think. But she said, "Oh, you're in my house," and I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Yes, you are." She said I was in her house because she used to live there, and she looked like, oh God, she looked like 18th century to me.
Wow.
She was a bigger woman. She had her hair back was in a bun, and she had on like a grayish blackish dress, plain dress, maybe 2 pockets on the right and left side, and she's kind of tall, 5'8", I think.
Wow.
And all she said was, "You're in my house." And I was like, "No, I'm not."
Mm-hmm.
And that's all she said. And she disappeared right in front of me. And I almost had a heart attack. And I told my son, I said, "Did you see anything?" You know, he was sitting at the computer and living room. I'm like, "Did you see or feel anything?" And he's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Oh my gosh, that's right. I just saw a ghost." And he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Well, you don't believe in ghosts." I said, "Well, you believe in aliens, UFOs. Why don't you believe in ghosts? You know?" You don't believe in that. I was like, "Oh, God."
Yeah. It's it's like I said, I always say that everybody has to have their own encounter where they can say it can't be anything about it. You can put that in ghosts, UFO, whatever. You have to have your own experience. And I think ghosts are more, like I said, they're more of an energy type source. And I really think that they can manipulate our brainwaves to allow us to see them, or we're mentally tuning in somewhere else, if you will, where our
Yeah,
brains are able to see into maybe a parallel universe or something that's going on.
I
Yeah.
never felt manipulated when I see a ghost.
Yeah.
So I think I'm tuned into them. But let me tell you the next story is the first black shadow person that I ever saw when I was living there.
Okay.
And this happened. I was in bed sleeping. I was at the end of my bed because I used to sleep at the end of the bed. And I had my bedroom door closed, and I heard the knob click, like someone opened the door, and I had my eyes shut. And I was like, "Who just?" I think my son. I don't think he was home this night, and I heard someone come in my room, and I got scared, because I didn't hear nobody come in the house, and I said, "Okay, Laura, I'm gonna open my eyes, and there's not going to be anything there." Okay, I was like convincing myself there won't be. I opened my eyes, man. I almost had a heart attack again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right when my bed was to the left, I had a small bookcase, and I look, and this thing was 3 steps away from my bed. Standing there was a black shadow person. I almost, uh, uh, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack. And he's standing there, and I remember he had like a white stripe of light across his chest. Was a white light, and when he came in, I heard a group of like 50 people talking. And I was like, "Who's all these people talking? This is really strange." And what had happened was my son's father had died about 6 or 7 months earlier. And I told him, "When you die, if you can, you come back and you appear to me as a ghost or something." I told him. He said, "Okay, I will if I can."
Yeah.
And I kid you not, it was him. I know it was him. It was his physique. He was 6 feet tall. And he said, he put his right arm up to like his eyes, and he said, "Hi, ha ha, I'm here, or something he said to me.
Creeped you out, yeah, creepy.
Yeah, he said, ha ha, I'm still here. But he was a black shadow person. He was blacked out. So that didn't tell me that he was in a good place. I mean, you wouldn't be blacked out if you were, spirit from heaven or something.
Never know. You never know. That could just be them trying to break that barrier. Maybe they're not able to get all the way through, or maybe they don't have enough energy to fill in the color or whatever of themselves. Yeah, that's.
Look at this, Matt. After he said that, he moved his right arm from like his head down to his body, and he disappeared right in front of me. And I almost had a heart attack.
No, I'd be a little terrified too. I mean, I've seen this stuff. The stuff that you're talking about for me is almost like on a daily occasions. I come across spirits all the time. I mean, I see them, hear them, feel them, whatever. So
I couldn't handle that if it was like almost every day. Oh my God!
You get used to it.
I didn't sleep all night after that. It's so scary. Oh God! And I have a couple more. The other thing that I had happen was in my kitchen again.
Wow!
I saw this girl. She was maybe like 10 years old, had pigtails in her hair, and she was like cooking at my stove. I had a small stove there, and she was like cooking something.
Wow!
And I'm looking at her, and I was thinking, well, this is strange. Who the heck is this? But she didn't say anything to me. But I got the impression that she was, when I was a child, she was my tutor, Christine. And she was murdered when she was like 18 or 19 years old.
That sucks.
She was my tutor when I was maybe 6 years old, I think.
Wow. Well, they do say spirits sometimes will show themselves in the happiest time of their lives. So maybe she was just going back to that point in her life. Maybe she was really happy back then.
That's what I was thinking too, because she looked happy. She was standing there and she was cooking breakfast or something. I don't know, for herself or her mom.
Yeah.
But she didn't say anything to me, but I got the impression that it was her. I don't know what she looked like as a child. I've never seen any pictures of her when she was a child. But I thought that was kind of strange.
Oh, she's just showing that she's okay. I imagine usually the encounters that we have with ghosts are usually them trying to send some kind of message. Maybe she wanted to let you know she was okay or everything's good, or it could have even been like a memory, kind of like a residual type thing where it's just like a rerun in time, and you're just seeing that glimpse of that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that too. And another night, I had like a dream. I must have been thinking about her for some time or something, because I saw that, and then I had this other like dream, and I was so stupid. This dream, I saw this mountain, and then I saw this picture of this woman, her face coming towards me, and I don't know why I got scared. And in the dream, I held my fingers up and made the sign of the cross, and she disappeared. She dissipated.
Weird.
And I woke up, which was weird, and I was making the sign of the cross with my fingers when I woke up. And I was like, oh my God, this is really strange.
Yeah, I mean, it could be more of a demonic like entity trying to mess with your head. They say that when you go to sleep, that's what happens. They mess with your head. They try and get in your head and manipulate your dreams and stuff. But so spirits can too.
Yeah, I got scared with that one and made sign across, and then she disappeared. And from what I saw, really quick.
Interesting. So go into your alien encounter. What made you realize that?
Yeah, I had one more. It was a real
go
good
ahead.
one.
Go ahead.
Okay, the last one is the only famous person that I have ever seen. And when Anna Nicole Smith died, I was just heartbroken because I had loved her. And oh my God, I'm sorry, I can't talk about this without crying.
It's okay.
But I was so happy when I saw her. I know you probably don't believe me, but I saw her. And this was again, of course, I'm always laying in bed sleeping. And I was dreaming. And my sister, Joanne, she told me, I was laying there, she said, "Come wake up and turn around." She told me to wake up and turn around. And I bet now I'm thinking, like, why? But I can make myself up for my dreams. So I woke up and, oh my God, I felt like there was somebody in my bed. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell's going on? And I turned around and I kid you not, Matt, Anna Nicole Smith. I saw her face. She was laying right there. I saw her face up to her shoulders.
Wow.
And I said, oh my God, Anna. I said, I love you. First thing out of my mouth, I said, I love you. And she talked to me with her mouth and she looked at me, Matt. And she was solid too.
Wow.
And she had a blue glow around her. And I said, I was so shocked. I was so happy. I said, oh my God, I'm so happy. I was so happy to meet her. And I said, are you happy? I asked her, I said, are you happy? And she said, I'm happy. I'm home.
Wow.
And I said, are you with Daniel? Because her son already died. I said, are you with Daniel? And she smiled. She smiled, the biggest smile. And I was like, oh no, I know she's in heaven. Because she just looked angelic. And I was like, oh, okay, I can rest easy. I know where she's at. And oh my God.
Yes.
I can't tell you how happy I was to see her. I cannot even explain. Oh my God. She's the only famous person I've seen so far.
Wow.
And then after that, I don't know, for some reason I turned around, went back to bed, but she was laying in my bed all night. Because when I woke up in the morning, I saw this blue light and it just went right through my window. And I was like, oh my God, don't tell me she was laying there the whole night. I could have been talking to her the whole night. For some reason, I was happy and I turned over and lay down and went right back to bed. But when I woke up, I saw this blue light and it just left right out my window. It had to be her.
Wow.
It was the only person in my room. I couldn't believe she's laying right in the bed with me, but I just saw her to her shoulders.
Wow.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell am I seeing her?
Well, that's definitely amazing that you had that experience.
Oh my God, I can't tell you. I was hoping some other famous people would come to me too, but nobody has that yet.
Yeah. There's still time.
I'm waiting. I haven't seen a ghost in a long time. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. It hasn't been quiet, but it hasn't been active, at least around here. There hasn't been a lot of ghostly activity.
Yeah, as a given time, you have haunted dolls sitting around.
Yeah, well, I had a full-on spirit box conversation with the ghosts, and it seems like this house. Somebody once told me my front door and my back door are like a passage where spirits are. It's like, if you go to the airport and you can get on those moving people movers, essentially, that move you along instead of having to walk. Yeah.
Like sidewalk, yeah.
And so essentially that's what it's like. People are just constantly moving. And I'm listening to this and they're having like a conversation with each other, and there's got to be hundreds of spirits talking. And finally I made contact with somebody, and we had a full-on conversation just back and forth. It was kind of interesting. It wasn't like a normal conversation we have with this ghost box, but
that's a lot of spirits.
They were telling me a lot of things. Well, they were like talking to each other. It was almost like this box opens up. I don't know if it's the box itself or what. Maybe it's the location. Maybe it's me. But it seems like it opens up all of this huge. It's like a huge antenna, and it picks up all these voices. and they're having conversations with each other, and I start asking for names. It's like name after name after name after name. I mean, there must have been a couple of hundred names at least. And I finally said, okay, I get it. You guys are all here. Can you answer my questions? And I finally, like I had a Bigfoot cup in my hand. I said, what's on my cup? And I had to ask him 3 or 4 times. And finally something said Bigfoot. And then I said, what? I pointed to something. I can't remember what it was. Something would normally come through the radio. And I said, what's this? And they immediately nailed it. And it, like 3 or 4 things, they were able to immediately say what it was. And I'm like, okay, I started asking him questions. I'm not going to get into what I asked them, but it was very interesting that they were answering the questions. And I had quite a few questions for them. And I got some interesting responses. So it kind of tells me what's going on.
Oh, that's good.
One of the ones I was like, oh, that makes sense. Scary as hell, but it makes sense. Anyways, keep going with your story. Let's keep going on your story.
Well, that was about it for that house. So
Okay. Well, you were telling me, the talk to me about your what made you realize that you were being abducted.
Okay, so that night that this happened, that day, I kept talking to Lucas, and I kept having a feeling. I said, I hope nothing happens tonight. I kept having a feeling something. I was telling Lucas something's gonna happen, because I told him about all the strange stuff that was happening at my apartment that I just told you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he believes me because I have too much detail when I tell my stories. He's like, I don't know how you can be making this stuff up, Aunt Laura. I said, I'm not. He said, I believe you. And we were eating dinner. My sister was there, but I didn't tell my sister anything, because she doesn't believe she believes in aliens, UFOs. She don't believe in ghosts. And she doesn't know anything about me.
Huh.
But I was sitting we were eating dinner, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I had this strange feeling just sitting, and I can't explain it. But I go to Lucas, something's going to happen tonight. I said that right in front of my sister. She didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow.
Lucas just looked at me like, what are you talking about? Something came over me. And well, he goes, when we went to bed, he goes, well, let me know if something happens to you. And I've never told him what happened.
Yeah.
This is 15 years later. I've never told him. I need to tell him. I don't know why I never told him. But he heard me on this one interview I had. He heard the story, and he said, I can't believe something happened right under my nose, and I slept right through it. He's so mad.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go to bed nervously, and I don't know what it was. I felt like my body was like warm or something. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, I go to bed, and this happened, I want to say, 1 o'clock, maybe a little later. I was laying in bed listening to Coast to Coast, because I always listen to the radio at night. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden the volume on the radio goes down.
That's
It's
weird.
going down real slowly, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? What's the volume going down? I didn't touch it.
Right.
Then I'm laying there mad, and all of a sudden I get this electric shock went through from my feet up to my head. It felt like got electrocuted, and I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I think I just died. Like, it came up from under the bed. I felt something come from under the bed and go through and just electrocuted my butt. That's exactly how I felt.
Wow.
And when it did that, my arms like flung up to like where my elbows are, and were like flinging around, because I felt like I was electrocuted.
Wow.
And after that happened, laying in the bed, and then I don't think my spirit popped out of my body. It just popped out of my. I don't know how else to explain this, but so it pops. I pop out of my body, and then I'm sitting at the edge of the bed on the left side, And I turn and I look and I said, I just died. I was like, why is my body laying there? And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my body in ghost form and I'm marveling at him. I'm like, oh, wow, it looks like a ghost. I'm like, what? Oh my God, I said, I must have just died. I had to just die. But anyway, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, I had a cup of water. I said, let me see if I can pick this cup up and take a sip of water. And I picked it up and I felt the cup, it was in ghost form, and I took a sip of the water. And I felt the water and I was like, whoa, this is really strange. And I put the cup down and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to turn around and look at the window and I better not see red, orange, yellow lights in the window. Mind you, I didn't realize I was seeing these lights actually like my whole life. And I turn around and I look in the window, Matt, and I kid you not, red, orange, yellow lights. They were diagonal in the window. They were big. And I looked at them and I think they were hypnotizing me. I kept looking and I was like, son of a, you know what?
Yeah, like, not again.
Yeah, I was thinking not again. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't really. But anyway, I'm looking at these lights, and then all of a sudden, I was thinking, oh my God, I better not go through this ceiling or through this wall. And I always freak out every time I go through this. I better not go through the ceiling or the wall. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, I felt this reverse gravity pull me up towards the ceiling. Is what it felt like. Something pulled me up, and all of a sudden, I was freezing. It was cold outside. I'd say it was probably like 30 degrees out or something. This was in November, 7 November.
And what state was this in?
This was in Mentor, Ohio.
Okay, Ohio, okay.
So anyway, I knew I was outside. It was dark, and I was cold. And I was like, why am I cold all of a sudden? I was just in a warm room.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next thing I know, I don't remember going up, but I know I went up to the ship. And when I came through from the bottom, I heard this clink, like they closed the hatch.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And I'm standing there, and what do I see? Of course, this good old gurney. I've seen this gurney so many times. That's the giveaway, is the gurney that I'm always seeing the gurney, or I'm on a gurney or something. And it's sitting right, and then I hear somebody say, lay down on the gurney. I didn't see anybody. They were behind me, or, they were out of sight. So I lay down. I was like thinking, okay, so I lay down on this gurney, and then my left shoulder, they touched me with this rod. When they touched me with the rod, then I was in solid form. I went from ghostly to solid. Don't ask me how, but I knew that's what they did. And then
Wow.
laying on the gurney, and I had my blanket. My blanket was like ballooned out over the gurney like a balloon. So I couldn't see them. And I was like, this is really strange. But then I felt all these little hands under my legs on the right and left side. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And they started wheeling me to this room. And they're like, oh, wow, we want to say hello. We love you. And I'm like, huh? Who the hell's talking to me?
Yeah. You're like, what's going on here?
And I was like, what? But anyway, they rolled me into this room, and then they took the blue blanket off. It went whoosh, and I was laying on this gurney. And the next thing that happened almost gave me another cardiac arrest. And oh my God, I was so terrified. I was laying on the gurney, and then I see this archway, right? To the right side. It was like an archway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I see this thing, Matt. It walked, right in view to where I could see it. It was sideways. and it looked like some type of alien, like he looked like a soldier or some shit. But then he turned and he faced me. Oh my God, I almost had a heart attack. This thing looked like a straight up demon.
Whoa.
It looked demonic. It had these big black demonic looking eyes. And this is the only second alien I saw with hair. It had short black hair on the top of his head. And I looked at this thing and first I screamed, and then I said, you effing ugly alien something. I was like, oh my God, I look at this thing mad at me. I thought this thing was going to kill me. I mean, oh my God. I was like, don't come near me. I was like, oh my God, don't come near me. Of course, he did come near me. He was like 3 or 4 steps away from me. And he had I noticed like muscular legs, and he had like some type of, he had like a vest on or something, but he had like an emblem on the left side of his vest. And I was thinking, oh, he must be a high-ranking demon alien soldier. He looked like a cross between alien, insect, human, demon. He looked like a mixture of everything.
Dang.
And I thought this thing was going to kill me. I looked at it like, oh my God, where did you just come from? Hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then he was about, he wasn't, well, I wouldn't say quite 6 foot. He was a little under 6 foot. And then he came in the room, and the next part I can't tell you because it's going to get R-rated, but I wish I could, but I can't tell you what he did.
Well,
what he tried.
Just generalize. He did. He basically, yeah. What?
I could see what he tried to do, but he didn't know what he was doing. I can tell you that much.
So he tried to interact with you in a way you didn't appreciate. Then, pretty much, yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing, and he didn't know how to do it. But at this point, I had passed out. I saw this in my mind, in my third eye. I saw this, what he was trying to do, because oh my God, because he came by me, and I just fainted, and I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. It looked like it was really strong, too. And after that, whatever he was trying to do, he left, and then I woke up, and then I'm laying there, and then this machine comes over by my right leg, and it punched my right leg, and I had a scar on my leg for like the next 6 years. The scar would not go away.
Dang.
And I don't know, they took a sample or something. And then I'm laying there, and then there was one alien to the left of me. I was laying on my back, and he told me to turn over on my stomach. So I turned over on my stomach, and I had my head was facing him, and he said, turn my head the other way. And this is not why I remember this, because they say things that I remember. That's how I remember it. Anyway, I turned my head to the left, and then he put this needle in my left ear.
Oh.
I don't know if he took an implant out, put an implant in. I don't know. But I remember it was a needle because it hurt.
Oh, it sounds like it.
Huh?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and then after that, that was it. They brought me back home somehow. And then I remember I woke up on the bed, and I didn't see anybody, but I felt them leaving. I didn't see anybody in the room, but they just left.
Wow.
And I was laying there, and the volume came back up on the radio, and I'm laying there. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, and I'm laying there, and I'm thinking, did this just happen?
Yeah.
Or was this a dream? And I thought about it all night, and I was like, no, Laura, this happened. This just happened. It had to happen because I remember everything. And then when I got up in the morning, I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and I was sitting there for probably, I think, maybe 20 minutes, Matt. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wait a minute, Laura, wait a minute. And I was like, remember that alien at the bed you saw when you were an infant? Remember when they came and took you and you were sitting in a circle with children? They took me, I don't know how many, at least 3 times a week they took me.
Dang.
And then I was thinking, remember when you saw that alien in your room that ran out of the house? And remember the alien you saw with my sister Joanna in the backyard that was messing with the garbage cans? That was literally 3 or 4 steps. All these memories came back to me in probably maybe 2 minutes, and I'm sitting there.
Wow.
I'm thinking, oh, your whole life you've been on UFOs your whole life. Oh my God, I was so happy with it.
Dang.
At age 47.
That must have been, really terrifying to realize that all of a sudden, oh my gosh, all this is happening to me. And I mean, what were what were you thinking at that point? Were you,
I was happy, excited, confused, scared, and I was just like in a fog. And I was sitting there thinking, remember what happened at Neil's house? This man I lived with, I didn't even tell you what happened with him. That should have been a dead giveaway, because I mean, I've seen these aliens. I've been around them. They've been around me my whole life, and I've had them literally surround me and stuff. And they're just right there.
Yeah.
And all this time, I thought those were dreams because they all happened at night.
Yeah, they come get you at night. That's just strange when you're the most vulnerable, especially when you're sleeping.
And for some reason, this dream I had was too vivid. And I was sitting there, and for some reason, I don't know why all these memories came back to me. That's what I don't understand, is why did all these memories come back to me all of a sudden? It just clicked like that.
Maybe something triggered it. But
I don't know. I don't understand.
yeah, I mean, something had to have triggered that to let you be able to have all those memories flood back in. The floodgates opened on you, and you must have, your brain put 2 and 2 together somewhere. You must have been doing something and gone, oh wait, what? And your brain just reversed all of that, and then let it all flood in. All the stuff that you've been kind of holding back for all this time, just kind of came to flooding in, and your brain's like overwhelmed with it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been violated and all this other stuff, and I can't even imagine what that'd be like to all of a sudden realize that something's been happening to you for all this time.
Yeah, and I'm used to while it was happening, I was used to the aliens. If I sit here thinking about them, I get scared. But when I'm with them, I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's like do something. I know them.
Yeah,
they've been around them so much. I'm not scared of them when I'm with them. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think that kind of happens. It's kind of like the hostage situation. After a certain amount of time, the hostage kind of starts to become friendlier towards the captor. Then, and then they kind of start to relate to them a little bit, and they start to, kind of work with them a little more. That, the longer they're with them. I mean, if you look at these long-term kidnappings, that sometimes they're able to, find the children 10, 15, 20, 30 years later. They've grown up with these people, and it's become normal for them. And so, it's kind of like maybe possibly what's happening with you. I mean, really, a therapist would have to sit down and have a discussion with you and go through all that, but we don't want to talk about that on here, but that's too personal. But yeah, I mean, that's insane, all the stuff that's happened to you and all the experiences you've had.
I have to tell you, after this happened at my sister's, I was staying at her house for a week. Okay. That alien I was telling you about, he looked like a demon. I know I got him mad. I shouldn't have cussed him out, but I was scared. I told, don't come near me. Whatever you do.
Well, I think just about anybody in their right mind would have probably said something like that. I mean, Stay back. Don't come near me. You're not, trying to protect yourself from something scary like that. And, it's got to be a freaky situation.
Well, listen to this. What happened? This was on a Tuesday. It also happened again. I was laying in bed, right? I don't know what time it was. I'm laying in bed, and for like an hour, I keep feeling this warm sensation going up and down, head to toe, like something was scanning me. And I felt warm, very warm. And I was laying there, and I'm thinking, what the hell? The heck's going on? And I thought, okay, Laura, you're gonna open your eyes, and there's not gonna be nothing in your room, and you're not gonna see nothing. But so I was trying to convince myself, me. So, I opened my eyes, and oh my god, I'd say right to where my knees are. I was laying at the head of the bed, to where my knees are. I'd say, I kid you not, I see this TV screen in midair, in the air.
Wow.
And on the screen, I see this demonic alien male, which was the entity that I saw on the ship.
That's crazy.
And he's looking at me, and I almost, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack. And he was sitting at a desk, a small desk, and he had a computer to the right side of him that could explain everything. And when I saw him, I saw his head. He had no neck. His head was connected to his shoulders. And he had muscular legs. And I don't know, there's something to the right side sitting on the table. I don't know what it was. I can't think now. But anyway, he had a vest on, and he had an emblem on his left, some type of emblem or something. And his arms, he had like wings on his arms. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell is it? He looked like a cross between alien, human, insect. What's the other thing? Animal?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't remember seeing him having any ears.
Huh.
And I think his mouth was small. It wasn't very big. And did he have a nose? I can't remember if he had a nose. Oh, I'd have to think about it. But I just remember his eyes were the black. They were like almost almond shaped, huge, demonic. It looked like a straight up demon. I was like, is that Satan or is that the devil or Lucifer himself? He wouldn't tell me who he was or anything. But I looked at him and I said, who the hell are you? As I said to him, as soon as I said that, he went boop, he pressed something and disappeared.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot. Before he did that, all he did was he goes, ha, 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 real creepy laugh. Jeez. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell was that? And I didn't sleep that rest of that night.
I bet not. Yeah, I bet not.
And I was like, what? How did that thing come back?
Yeah, exactly. What just happened?
Get this, Matt. 2 days later on a Thursday night, same thing happened again. He came back again.
Jeez.
That's how I remember him. And I said the same thing to him, and I wanted to talk to him, but he wouldn't. I said, who the hell are you? That's all I could get out. And then he was like, boop. And I was like, why did he come back twice? I was like, oh, I must really made that thing angry.
No, he's just interested in you.
Well, that's not where it ends. I figured out what he was doing. After that, I had moved to Hawaii. Literally the next month, I moved to Hawaii. And when I moved, I noticed, I was just there for like 3 weeks, but I noticed my face was like turning into like a monstrous type of taking on my whole face changed. I don't know about my daughter. Nobody noticed it but me. I'm looking like what the hell's going on with my face? I swear I look like a monster. That happened for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Oh, what the thing was doing to me? He was doing something to my face. Probably because I called him ugly. So he made me look really ugly for like 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, it faded or something, and my whole face changed. But nobody noticed it with me, and I was like, how's nobody noticing my facial features? I mean, you could tell it that face changed. Oh, my granddaughter noticed. She's the only one. She noticed I looked different, but nobody else did.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I was like, wow, they can manipulate your looks.
I'm sure they can.
That's what he was doing. I know that's what he was doing.
They can probably manipulate energy, and because we're just energy and stuff like that. If they're that far advanced, but they can fly through space, they can probably manipulate our energy too.
Oh, that's scary. That's very. That's I don't know. It's just strange.
Yeah.
I still don't know or understand what the point of that abduction was. Because he wanted to see me or something.
Yeah, he wanted to do some creepy stuff to you. Sounds like.
Yeah, like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. I think you nailed that one. Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, definitely. Creepazoid. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up with Laura. Thank you again, Laura, for coming on with us. We've been on here for almost an hour, so we're going to let Laura go here. I got to go get some sleep. I'm exhausted. Sorry about my allergies, guys. I kept sneezing and all kinds of stuff while I'm in here, and the dogs are absolutely going berserk. So, anyways, talking about ghosts, I feel like I'm being drained. I feel like the energy, this cold spot right behind me. Probably because I have the spirit box sitting right in front of me. I have my phone sitting on top of the spirit box. So Laura can talk to us today. For some reason, it does not let us do Skype or anything else to record her video on here. We can only do audio. So if you're watching, I apologize that I look so tired and I'm sneezing and stuff. I just had a long day and allergies are going crazy. And then, if you're listening to podcasts, hopefully you're enjoying this. So thank you again, Laura. We really appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you on in the future again if you want to come back. And we'll just continue to share your stories as you want to.
Oh yeah, I have more stories, and I haven't even talked about Hawaii. There's so much happening in Hawaii. I can't even.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we will have you back on shortly, maybe in a couple of months or so.
Okay, this sounds good.